Previously on Almost Hero.
Last week we picked up in the high woods. After a short time we came across a river and encountered a small frog named Timurk, the bullywug. Timurk told us about a bridge over the river further to the east, but warned that it was guarded by the brothers. After deciding the bridge crossing was the best option, we headed east and found the bridge seemingly unguarded. Cosmo headed out onto the bridge to scout ahead and got pooped on by Poe. Cosmo, while he was being pooped on, had a spell shot at him, a web spell. We quickly attacked and incapacitated the spellcaster, forcing the rest of the hidden figures to show themselves. A large Goliath walked out onto the bridge. Half his body was covered in metal, like built into his flesh, and he was carrying a nasty-looking halfling sorcerer who had some real smell vibes about him. The Goliath's name was Willie. He's one of the three brothers, and said we could cross, but we would have a debt to work off. Cosmo and Rangrim just beat the ever-living shit out of Willie. And after a surprisingly short fight, the sorcerer was defeated, and Willie found himself short ahead, leaving the bridge free to cross. Continued heading north and encountered an odd group that kind of just attacked us out of nowhere. But as they kind of broke out of the bush, one of them recognized Glynn, and that's where we left off.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, BK. And with that, that brings us to episode 22, Ebon Liberation Force. So with that, we're going to pick up with the Almost Heroes traveling north towards the Ebon Ridge volcano in search of the Ebon Depths mine. And just as you were kind of heading down this path, having just passed by the Brothers Bridge, you were basically approached or charged by this group who seemed to recognize Glynn. One of them is seeming like an ogre that is, all of them are kind of odd in nature. They're not natural. They've been modified in some way, all of them. There's this ogre that seems to be like kind of on all fours. His stature is like very kind of bent over, seems to have some sort of like metal box situation on his back. And sitting inside of that metal box, there seems to be a small goblin with a crossbow. And kind of in front, and the one who had stopped them and recognized Glynn was a very battle-scarred orc who seems to have two swords instead of hands. And with that, we can pick up right there. Glynn, the hell are you doing here?
So Glynn was laying on his back, reading that book that he picked up off the sorcerer's body, and kind of like just balancing a dagger as he reads. He goes, "Udak, is that you? I'll be damned, you son of a bitch, how you doing?" He just like kind of throws the dagger behind him and hops off the cart, and then like kind of looks at the arms that are now basically swords at the end of him, just bandage on, and goes, "Well, I'll be damned, they're still there. How you doing, man? I'd hug you or shake your hand, but you know."
Yeah, I don't worry, I don't take offense to it. Seriously, what are you doing here?
Well, I mean, after last time we, parted ways, made my way over to Tin Town. I was telling you I was headed that way. A lot has happened, man. It's been a busy few months. I imagine somehow your trek was just as exciting, but I'm gonna be honest. I think I got a better story for you. How are you doing? Looks like you made some friends along the way.
A lot has happened. We can catch up later. We heard fighting down by the bridge, and we were going to help basically get rid of Willie and Chester. I'm assuming that was you.
Oh, they're gone.
Oh,
they good. Yep, it's gone.
Yeah, Willie's just kind of floating downriver right now, and Chester popped.
But fish food.
Okay. And he kind of like does the thing where you like would go like this with your hands, but it seems like he's just kind of sharpening swords, like shing shing. I guess that's off our plate. Well, shit. I don't think we need to catch up in the middle of the road here. We have a camp, just kind of like closer to the Ebon Ridge, but hidden enough where they haven't stumbled across us yet. So, do you all just want to come? We can catch up there and figure out what the hell we're doing or what you guys are doing here.
I know I could use a load off. Boys, you feel like making friends? Maybe trying to get a little intel before we go and take on this next stage?
Right. Well, I could use at least a drink.
Yeah. What? What? You got hell?
I'm.
I
we-
whisper to him, just say yes.
Yeah, definitely have ale, not just a lot of dirty water. Promise.
Right. Well, if you said no, I would have just said, well, I brought me keg. But
Oh yeah, you have a keg. I forgot about that.
All right, Cosmo's got a keg, anyways.
right. But we'll drink yours first.
The ogre kind of turns around. The goblin is still like keeping a kind of a close eye on you guys. The crossbow's down, but just kind of looking at you. As the ogre turns around, you can see like the figure of the goblin in there kind of hops around and is now facing backwards, watching you as they're kind of walking down the pathway. And like
Cosmo waves.
it just like glares its eyes at you, just kind of to the point where you can't even see its eyes open. Even though goblins have like pretty big eyes.
Cosmo winks at it.
Hold on.
I hope this goblin's very into Cosmo.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Oh,
Can you roll for seduction?
Oh man, this is where it gets really interesting.
Persuasion. Oh yeah, it's a.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I think that the goblin seems to like kind of like chuckle to it itself and kind of softens, and then it just kind of like turns back around and doesn't seem as trained on you all. Yeah, so Udak kind of taking the lead and leading this ogre and the goblin kind of heads down the path, and then at some point just kind of like heads back off of it down kind of a pretty it's pretty rough path. And so if you guys can roll me actually a nature check for whoever's driving the cart to see if we can manage, or a animal handling check actually would be great.
I think Cosmo's still on his horse. Don't know that I ever got off.
I don't think you did either.
Yeah, I think you're still on the horse.
Me.
Steve.
Yeah.
Once I can. So do you want me to roll, or is it mostly just for the cart?
No, it's for you to just be able to. Actually, you know what? I'll give you advantage on it because it's like a spectral horse. But yeah, give me an animal handling check.
Glynn
or
would be
nature
walking with Udak, but
Okay.
did you told me to roll? I'm happy to do nature at least.
Yep, nature check from Glynn, nature check with advantage from Cosmo, and a animal handling check from Rangram.
Whale.
Natural 20.
Damn, you fucking love those donkeys. Fucking love Rangram.
Dude.
They do.
Right?
Fucking, they will ride right into that volcano with Rangram. There's-
I have a feeling that the final reveal is they're going to be Pegasi. Like, just find out they can fly. Like, it's going to be the big bad battle is going to be fucking on Pegasus.
Lion donkeys.
They're just.
well, once you get them to level 16, they evolve, and so then you're like, yeah, that's how that works.
They no longer use splash.
They learn fly.
I got
I got an
fif-
8 from a nature check.
Ooh.
I got a 15.
Okay. 15, you're able to, like, as much as it is you and your horse, you are one with Steve, and you all are doing completely fine. Are you marching order straight down this path? I'll get back to you, Glynn, on this, but like, what's the marching order here? Probably Glynn in the front next to Udak. And then would it be the carts, or would it be
If
Cosmo?
there was room, Cosmo and would kind of be off to the side of the cart, like kind of.
I don't think there's room for the carts, like barely fitting down this path.
You want to go in front, Rangrim?
Yeah, I can go ahead.
That's fair.
Okay, so basically the cart's then in the center. It's it's Udak's force in front of you. Then it's the cart, and then it's you.
Yeah.
So yes, Glynn, all that build up to the fact that you just kind of are stumbling as you're kind of like trying to make it through here. You're just kind of like, I don't know, like you're generally like are pretty adept with your movements, but like it just, I don't know, just maybe this whole thing of being caught off guard with a friend you haven't seen in quite a while is just kind of like you have a lot in your mind and you're just like, oh fuck, and you keep
I'm so
stumbling over
excited.
roots and shit.
Glenn's so excited to see Udak that he's just telling him all the stories. Like he's totally catching Udak up in like the 3 months ago that I saw him before, basically like right before I met these guys, just everything in between. And I'm just tripping over every branch, just looking like a fool.
Yeah, Udak is he's kind of like half paying attention to you and also like making sure that he's going the right way. So he's just like, yeah, totally. Oh, really? That's cool. Okay, and then he's like continuing to figure out where he's going. But yeah, so you guys head down this path and you're able to successfully navigate it. I mean, a lot thanks to the fact that the ogre is pretty big, and so like generally like this pathway, if it's big enough for the ogre, it's big enough for the cart, and you guys all get along it. So yeah, you fall down this path, and it seems to kind of like meander in and out of the this wooded area, and you're starting to see that these trees, as you're going, are becoming like less and less dense. They're becoming like just scragglier and shittier, and like they're kind of changing into more of like a brush, not as high. So it's like a lot more ground cover, but it's not covering as high up as you're kind of moving forward through this. And you probably travel for a good like 30 to 45 minutes before you finally do come to like kind of a clearing that's in this like some sort of like kind of starved scrub brush kind of thing that probably is pretty dense as far as like the thicket you're in, but the it probably doesn't, none of the stuff goes above like maybe 6 feet in the air, and that's kind of where you're at. But yeah, there's a pretty decent camp here. It seems to be like cleaned up and maintained for as much as it is. And one thing you notice is that it seems to have been set up for more than just 3 people. Like there is like tents and things of that sort set up to probably easily home or house 15 to 20 people, beings at one point in time. And it seems like there's a meager ness to it. Like seems like they did a lot with very little, and that's kind of the sense you get. It doesn't seem particularly dirty. It's it's not like the Were Tiger camp or anything like that, where it's like trash everywhere. But yeah, so you come into this clearing, and Udak and the ogre kind of goes over and sits down, still like kind of hands down in the front, and sits down, and the goblin actually gets out, and you notice as the goblin gets out that it does not have legs. It's just torso and arms, and just kind of swings itself off and basically onto a stump that's just next to the ogre. And yeah, and Udak just kind of sits down on a stump by the fire next to the goblin. And you are in the campsite of Elf, the Ebon Liberation Force.
Glynn sits down at a stump, kind of probably across from Udak. It takes a seat and looks at Udak's like, yeah, so man, it was pretty crazy. His daughter killed me a couple times. I've killed her once, so like we're almost even. We're gonna get there eventually, but it's great to see you, man. You look good. The weapons look a little beat up. We might be able to help you with that, but I mean, mind introducing me to your friends? And I just kind of like wave over to the ogre and the goblin.
Oh, yeah. Things have kind of taken a little bit of a roller coaster ride since we first met. I know that I was kind of down on my luck at that time. Didn't even have anything to rub together at the time.
Yeah, you couldn't. You didn't have the hands to hold them.
Yeah, very, very true. And the Ebon Liberation Force, Elf was just kind of an idea and a dream, and since then we've I'm sorry. This is they can introduce themselves. The goblin.
my name's Scraps.
And my name's Dozer.
Scraps and Dozer. Well, it's very nice to meet you guys, and I'd like float a very visual mage hand over to shake both their hands. For the goblin, I make it scaled down a little bit, and for the ogre, I make it as big as possible, which I think is just regular hand size. But
regular hand size. The goblin kind of like pulls his crossbow up and like is very twitchy. It's a very twitchy goblin. It pulls his crossbow up and then like sees it kind of float towards his hand and just kind of does the offhand like shake to it, and then like kind of doesn't leave, like keeps the crossbow moving with it. And then Dozer just kind of takes his one of his big hands and just kind of completely grabs it like this, and then just goes like this, and realizes that it's like not, because it's not. Is it tangible?
I can make it tangible, but let's just say like when he does that, it poofs out, and I'm like,
I was gonna say he might have crushed it. Yeah,
hell of a handshake there. Just pretend like I hurt my hands. Like this is Rangrim and my buddy Cosmo, me and my friends Udak, Scraps, and Dozer. Met Udak in it's called a twist of fate. I was kind of walking through the forest, and he was sprinting through it with no hands, half naked, just real angry. Helped equip him with us.
Over there by Lee side, right?
Somewhere around there. I don't know. It's all just kind of starting to blend together, but equipped him with those nice little scimitars you see on the ends of his arms, and it's kind of set him on his ways. Seems to be making friends, setting people free. If I remember correctly, you're actually part of the camp that we might be looking to bust up.
Oh, is you guys are here for. Okay, we can hold on. We'll get back to that in a second.
You're right. Cosmo, Rangrim, Udak.
But
Nice,
Udak?
nice. IGGY.
Udak.
Udak. All right. I'll remember
Udak?
that one for sure.
Oh,
Udak.
OODAK. Anyway, that was my Iggy Azalea joke. I'll continue.
2016 relevant, baby.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I appreciate all you did to help get us started on this path. We were actually a lot more of us, maybe a couple months ago, but we did a raid on the Ebon Depths, and it didn't go as well as we hoped. They have more defenses than we thought that they did, and don't have much magic at our disposal to be able to get through them. So we're the ones that are left, and hopefully we'll rebuild. But I will say, for your guys' benefit, if you're planning to get in there, number one, you have people who know it, and number two, they are down a lot of help right now because they killed a lot of their own people when they took out the rest of our forces.
Cosmo would be right. Cosmo, hearing him talk about the Ebon Depths, as he like pulls his keg out onto the back of the cart, and just, well, yeah. So the Ebon Depths, I've been losing scouts to that place, for the last couple of weeks, and he's just and he kind of offers a mug of ale across.
Yeah. I assume the mug has a handle on it?
Right. Yes, it does.
He slides his scimitar, or I guess let's say it's a scimitar. I like that. Slides it out, and with the curved blade, kind of like tilts it up towards him, and kind of slants it a little bit so that it adds enough pressure to the handle, and then just kind of slides closer down to him, and then just takes a drink of it, being careful not to cut his own face. Of course, he's had these swords for a little bit now.
Right.
But takes a deep swig and kind of nods to you.
Yes, these Ebon Depths, certainly a place that I have questions and will likely venture to. And I don't know, he offers ale to the other two. Hey, Scraps, would you like some? It's dwarven meat, but I think someone of your stature could handle it.
He's not trying to poison you, Scraps. He's not trying to poison you.
But
He's a little bit jumpy. I think that honestly, it'd probably be best if he just didn't.
But I
don't think
I
it's
could
gonna
sit
be
it
better.
down and he could come over to it if he like.
Honestly, to be honest, he's barely holding it together sober. I don't think that that's going to be for the benefit of anyone. And if you give Dozer anything, you're going to have to empty that whole keg to even get him any kind of effect on him.
Right. Well, I'll just keep this one to myself because it's my keg.
And I mean, obviously, didn't expect. We were planning on building up forces for quite a long time to be able to take another shot at this. So getting you guys here and having you guys here now, like this is an amazing opportunity to be able to get in there. But I don't think a head-on attack is going to work. I think that we're going to probably have to do something a little bit different.
What do you reckon the sizable force we would need to make a good go at it?
I mean, I think if we're looking at getting in there, we're with the force we have here, even if every single one of us, we had 4 times this number before, and we didn't get in with a direct attack on them.
How about look at it this way, Udak? How many do they have? You said you helped take a big chunk out of them. If you had to make a guess, how many strong do you think they are?
That's a tricky question. I don't know exactly. They've been building forces since, collecting. Like you said, you were losing scouts. That's not surprising. They're constantly adding to their number against people's will. They get them in at least a couple times a week. I think that
against people's will, you mean they're capturing them, and the people they capture are turning against the people they originally were fighting for, or just capturing them, killing them?
They're capturing them and bending them to their will to become servants to the mine.
You think this is the brothers doing, or is there more to it? You mentioned magic. What kind of magic do you think it was, and was it only the brothers?
It's the brothers, for sure. Well, and now thanks to you, there's only 2 of them. You have Alton One Eye, and you have Doc, and they're both nasty. The whole thing is awful, but they're definitely behind this entire thing.
would you say was the brother the big one or the little one?
I think it was the big one. He seemed pretty proud of
Willie.
the situation. Chester never even came out of the bushes until he was chucked. So
Oh, Chester's not. No, Chester was basically just like a little peon to Willie. Followed him everywhere. No, it's with Willie gone. I mean, luckily, I don't think that you said you threw their body down the river. Hopefully, it'll be some time before they discover it. But when that goes up, this place is going to lock down in a way that we're going to lose an opportunity. So I think that we do have some sort of time limit on us.
is the rest of the mine downriver? Or is there a way to access the mine downriver?
As far as I know, there's only one way in. We could probably find a way in through a ventilation, maybe. There's ventilation all over. I don't know if you've spent much time in the Ebon Ridge, but there's vent holes everywhere. But a lot of them, it's kind of a crapshoot because some of them are volcanic in nature. So if you drop down the wrong one, you're not coming out.
Well, hold on a minute. Is there a door, like a front door? They got a gate. They get in there, right?
Oh, there's definitely a front door.
It's a mine, right?
Yep. Yep.
How do they trade the ore out of the mine? Well, say I go down there, and Mama blacksmith will see me caught up over here, and I just go looking for some ore.
I think that's a good idea, actually. I think something like that could work. And that's kind of in line with what I'm thinking. I think that with our limited resources, but with the fact that I know and I assume that you all have, more tricks up your sleeve than probably the limited ones that we were working with in the past of, ex-slaves and people that are a little bit more hard up than you all. I think that subterfuge, sneaking in, might be a better option, to be able to get past instead of just like the smash and batter down the front door kind of option.
Well, that's kind of my idea, right? Maybe worst thing is maybe we just kind of scope the place out a bit and leave. And if things get real hairy, Cosmo will just smush someone's head like a melon.
All right.
A lot of dead melons out there.
All right.
Well, I mean, you know me. I'm an expert of stealth. I've barely ever got caught, minus a tent, or Rangrim's daughter twice. But outside of those scenarios, I'm pretty good at getting in and out of places. But I think we might want to go out of our way to, again, try to collect as much information as possible. Keep that group as small as possible. Udak, will we be able to maybe leave Dozer and Scraps behind while we go hunting, or what do you think is the best way to approach it and get some information?
I think that's for the best, honestly. I don't think that they went through the first battle and barely got out of it, so I don't think that they're too bloodthirsty at this point to go back into it. I think they're just happy to be alive. Yeah, I think that honestly, first thing we should do is I'd like to take you a little bit closer, still staying hidden, but let you see what you're up against with this mine. We can't get super close. The foliage and the trees kind of die off as they get closer to the Ebon Ridge base, but we can get you to the point where you can at least see, what's going on.
And those weapons look pretty beat up. Before we start the trek, in case we do run into anything, my friend here, he wasn't kidding about the moving forward. He might be able to, sheen some of those for you, make them a little more effective for this first night's outage. It's like 3 p.m. right now. Like, wasn't the fight at the bridge like around noon?
It's like 1 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, I think if we were to head out tonight, we might want to spend a little bit of time, let the sun go down a little bit, use the shadows. But my boy here, he probably do a lot of strong work for you. Rangrim, you got any?
Yeah, come here, and I'd go walk over to Udak and just grab both the scimitars that are his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Take them.
And actually, I'm gonna cast mending.
Oh, dope.
Which, if there were any like minor repairs, it's not doing anything crazy. But like, I figure they at least polish up. They're sharper.
Yeah, gets rid of all the chips and all the dings, all the dents. Wow, this is amazing. I hate to ask. So, if you are able to do forging, we have some time. I tell me if this is too much, but a while ago, before when I first escaped the mine, I actually had, you could see like he's kind of like showing you his hands and like where these things are like basically belted to his arms. You can see that there's like metal caps on them, and they have like these little locking, like you can see where something might have locked into place these two posts. I used to have these like almost caps that went on the end that like could attach different things, and I used to have a shovel and a pick, but is there any way to modify it so that maybe this is more same situation where there's blades and they're capped? Is that a thing you can do?
Yeah, so it's like a thing that goes over your nubbins there, and you want to put different kinds of tools in it, like spoons for like soup and things. Or
Yeah,
maybe
you ever seen the play hook? Kind of like that.
you want like a hook out.
No, not.
I'm thinking more like like a spoon. Oh, we could put like a butter knife, so like it toast and stuff, right?
How about?
I think more stabby, less dinnery.
I really like these swords, but they're pretty wiggly from time to time the way they're attached. If there was a way that we could reattach them to these posts, these metal posts, like the old ones were, basically a cap that goes over it and then has a blade coming out that locks into place, that would be pretty useful. Not gonna lie.
I think I could oblige by that. You have any metal kicking around that you might not have a use for?
Grim, don't we have about 400 doorknobs?
No,
I think I have about 5 of them in the last house we burnt down.
we don't have any doorknobs.
You're right.
He goes over and he's like, starts dragging from behind this like bush. It's basically like this broken open small iron cage that's probably about like, I don't know, 2 feet by 2 feet, something like that. Pretty small, but it's he kind of drags it over and drops it in front of you. I'm realizing now he probably can't drag. He put his forearms through and is pulling it with his forearms. That's how he's doing it. That's how I'm justifying it. But drops in front of you and goes, will this work?
Yeah, that'll do just fine. And Rangrim goes and kind of sits in front of it and is doing his like little thing, except this time instead of being like stoic, he looks very much like that, like the wizard from Conan. Where he's like going like cross-eyed, like doing a bunch of weird things and just making strange noises, and bits of the metal start to pull off from the cage as that would be a half hour now.
Mm-hmm.
It starts to coalesce into those little caps, and the swords that he would have on the end would have like almost like not like a ratcheting mechanism, but it is like a twist, and it would like sink in. I can't think of the name of it, the type of fastener it would be. So he could change him up for spoons and forks and cool things.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. While he's watching you do this, like he's absolutely in awe. Like this is magic. Like he does not have magic, and so like just watching this, even scraps, you can just see is like this, like the molten metal is just like reflecting in his like goblin eyes from a distance, and like even his crossbow is kind of dropped as he's in awe of this. And Udak just
every 3 minutes, my mage hand comes in invisibly and just taps Scraps on the shoulder, just whichever one he's not leaning towards. Like every time he starts to get in trance, I just fuck with him.
Dude, at least the first 3 times that happens, he shoots a crossbow bolt off some direction in the fucking sky. And so Udak, like as he's watching you do this, he's just kind of like starts undoing the belts off of his and drops like the scimitars to the ground. It's just watching you do this this ritual.
And then once I finished, I would just kind of present them to him. Like, here you go, try these on. And I would just kind of stick them right on his nubbins there.
So I kind of picture these as being like almost like, instead of being like such long kind of brittle swords, like they're a little bit more like short, like a gladius, like and thicker, like they can do a little bit more, take a little bit more beating before they're gonna like snap like a scimitar would.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just kind of like, he's looking down at these things and he's just in awe, and he kind of slides them against each other, making that like shing shing noise. And he goes, I feel a lot more ready to kick these brothers' ass now. Thank you.
Hey, you're
very
welcome.
much.
I mean, if you want to kill the brothers, you're gonna have to get in line, because, like I said, Cosmo like smushing heads around these parts.
Yeah, the crazy part about Cosmo, he doesn't just stop at the target. He does like the whole bloodline. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
like we started with 1, we got 2 more, else we're not allowed to leave. So
he's taking out generations.
We're wiping out entire families.
there's a whole dwarven family who thinks he's the Grim Reaper. It is crazy.
Well, if if killing siblings is your thing, then it seems like you are the perfect dwarf for this this particular quest.
Well, if it's in my book, they started it.
That's true. So we gotta wait for a little bit of sundown, and we're gonna go do some snooping. Is that the plan?
Yeah, yeah, I think that probably doing it at dark's probably going to be best. Yeah, I mean, we can,
It's what,
we
like
can just
4 hours?
yeah. All of a sudden, we the sun goes. No I'm kidding. Does anyone want to do anything in the meantime? Otherwise, we can just speed that dial right up.
If we're going, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I was just gonna say, just while we were waiting at camp, Rangram would be going around and doing what he could to repair any of the rest of their gear with the use of mainly just the mending cantrip, as well as, the tools that I do have on me as well, to just kind of, not full, like, remaking anything, but really just some very basic repairs on just about anything I couldn't within the 4 hours.
Awesome. Yeah, you find some different structures that are built of pieces of metal, found objects, things like that, and you're able to strengthen those. But you also find like doesn't seem like they were able to salvage all of the weapons, or not even that all of them had weapons. But you do find like a smattering or a collection of weapons of sorts, axes, spears, swords, things like that, and you're able to mend those and get rid of the rest, get rid of all these helping them to be like in their most pristine condition during that time.
The only thing that Cosmo probably asked Udak is just, well, obviously we're gonna go in there and we're splitting heads and maybe I'm squashing them or popping them, whatever. We're just killing people. What's the end game? Like, we go in, we kill the brothers. Like, do we still have an entire horde of people that we have to fight, or?
No. It's kind of complicated, and I don't actually fully understand it myself. They have some power over keeping people under their control that makes them subjugate to them. I don't understand it completely. I know that Doc is the one that does the modifications. He is has some sort of artificing and necromancy kind of combined that is giving him that power. He's the one that did this to me. He revels in doing experiments and these kind of disgusting things. Alton is the brains behind it, and he's I don't know. He's not a paladin. He's something though, and something like that. He gets his power from somewhere, and I don't know. There's something worse in there than them. I don't know. It's something.
You said there's something worse than them, as in there's another being, or you think that the source of power that Alton's pulling from is?
That's what I'm thinking. There's something. His power is coming from somewhere. It's not arcane in nature. It's not natural. It's something, and you'll probably feel it when you start getting close. I'm not gonna lie. There's a pull that pulls people to that place.
When you see Alton, have you engaged in battle with Alton? Have you seen him flex his magic?
You don't see Alton very much if you're in the Ebon Depths. You mostly see the Doc. All I've seen of Alton is someone basically covered head to toe in black steel armor.
And when you kind of see one of their slaves, is there any type of branding that they have tied to him? Is there any type of iconography that exists that we would be able to recognize or maybe fabricate?
Does it look like a hand?
And then I grab Rangrim's hand and I hold it up.
No. What? That was weird. What did you do that for?
No. Unfortunately, there's no really markings. The only markings we get are these, and he's like holding his hands up, and he's basically we're designed by the Doc to do certain tasks. I was designed to dig and excavate, and Dozer is designed to move material back and forth, and Scraps is basically there to put things into a place and not move very much. As you can see, we've been what they would call optimized, and I would call mutilated.
Yes, mutilated, would agree. Have you ever come under this control or whatever, where you're being forced to do the will of brothers?
Yeah, I don't know why I came out of it. Honestly, it's almost like a cloud, like a fog is over you. You feel just, I don't know. It's just like you feel like you're part of something. You feel like you want to be helping and doing it for the good of whatever, and almost like you're friends with it, whatever it is. And it's obviously not the case. I think I got too far away from it one day. I was outside, I was loading something up, and I just kind of came to and ran.
As if you I'm certainly not looking to fish for anything, but do you suspect you were let go for a purpose?
I don't know if that's the case. Then I'm still trying to figure it out, because I haven't received any aid from anything that would have fought against that power. So I don't know. That symbol, though, something about that symbol. I don't have it. I've never seen one of the slaves in the mine with it, but I feel like I know it. I don't know why.
Oh, well, that's just great, isn't it?
Rangrim, I swear, if you start turning on us again, I'm gonna have to just real good flick to the forehead. We talked about
Whose
this.
idea was this to go back into a different mine? Because you know how that worked out last time.
Oh, you're right. Cosmo's going to cripple another economy. And I'd go to high five Rangrim.
Rangram high fives him back and is just laughing hysterically.
It's an inside. Cosmo basically destroyed his hometown in like 3 weeks. It was absolutely insane, Udak.
I was protecting it from.
He was liberating. Oh, hey, that's what we're doing here. See, Udak, this is destiny. Cosmo, and he like kind of nudged him. He's like, "This is what you've been talking about, destiny, right?"
Right. This is liberating.
This
destiny.
is what we're here for.
Right. Vengeance.
Well, I don't know if it's
collapse.
I don't know if it's destiny or what, but as far as I'm concerned, from today forward, you all are proud members of Elf in my book.
I'm not. He's the only elf.
Definitely not an elf.
I was always.
I love Glynn, but I'm not an elf.
Yeah, definitely they are not elves.
Can we get a new acronym?
You're much more of an elf. They are not elves.
It's going to be really difficult to build an acronym out of dwarf. I'm not going to lie to you. It's much longer. It's going to be terrible on a shirt.
But
the Ebon aggressive resistance.
Here. We'll work on the slogan. It could be like, "We hear you." You know, like.
I just think that I just don't know how that's going to do on social media. It's the brandability of that. I'm just anyway. So as far as we were talking about, just getting back to what's the end goal, if you can figure out a way to free the people in there, I maybe it is killing Alton, maybe it's killing Doc. I don't know what's going to cause that, but when you figure out what that source is, what is doing that, you're not going to have any resistance in there. It's not going to be anyone fighting back against you. It's just going to be, they have a couple officers, people that like Chester, but they're going to get overwhelmed in an instant by the amount of slaves that are down there that are going to all of a sudden wake up and realize that they're not friends and that they want to get the fuck out.
Well, I think we take the rest of this afternoon to kind of rest, get settled in, and let's say midnight. We move out. We see what we can see, and we'll go from there.
Midnight. I think I might need to take some time and get some rest now. Then, us dwarves, we need this dwarf rest.
You guys could do that actually. If you wanted to take a long rest now, you could totally do that, and then
yes, I do.
Cool. Yeah.
So I would do two things. I would summon Poe before I go to sleep because it costs a spell slot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd bring Poe back, and just like when he bamps back to my hand, be like, "You did a hell of a job. We really need to watch where we poop, but otherwise I'm proud of you." I give him like the rest of a DOS dog, and go into my trance.
Those things have to be getting fucking just.
He's a fey. He's a fey crow. He's fine.
That thing is just like moldering at this point.
It's blacker. It's somehow dark black.
Cosmo sees Poe like poof into existence, and he makes an attack on him.
Shit.
You're gonna fucking Udak one of Glynn's hands attacking Poe.
Nah. So he just like swings his mace and just like
roll an attack.
Oh.
Dude, it is Raven's AC is probably not super high.
Oh, I rolled a 16, so 16 plus.
Yeah, that hits.
16 plus. You probably just need that 16 to be fair.
Yeah, that hits.
Yeah. All right.
He poofs into out of existence again.
And he just
real quick. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just say he pops the Poe, and he's just, I earned that one.
And like, there's a quick reaction where he's kind of mad. He's like, he had that one coming. Just don't take his DOS dog. And I spend my last spell slot of the day bringing him back. So please, dear God, don't attack us.
Cosmo just flinches at it.
And he like squawks at you all angry. I'm like, hey, you two make nice. Come on.
Watch where you be defecating.
And I would go into my trance. That's all I want to do for the day.
Cool. Anyone else want to do anything before going to sleep?
Cosmo, just kind of getting some I don't have to RP. I just want to say it out loud. Right? Getting some information about where they're going would really just adjust some of the spells that he has prepared. That's all.
No, let's actually talk through that really just really get granular with it. No, I'm just kidding. Rangram, what are you doing?
Right before Rangrim goes to bed, Rangrim's casting Thaumaturgy to make it seem as though Poe made an extremely condescending squawk directed at Cosmo. Which is great because Thaumaturgy actually specifically says the cry of a raven is one of the instantaneous sounds I can make.
Roll a
what is
roll performance.
Rip Poe, I guess.
Performance. I have a +2 to that. Natural 20.
I'm so glad. I can't wait for all the 4s and 5s you guys are going to roll when you're actually doing your reconnaissance.
Right.
Yeah, so what does Cosmo do when he gets
seriously.
convincing...
All that recon.
All
the battles.
This very convincing condescending squawk directly at Cosmo.
So Cosmo would be, I guess at this point, would probably be sitting down kind of like reading or whatever, and he gets this squawk, and he just turns and throws a throwing axe at it.
Yeah, roll attack, range attack.
Okay.
We're going to burn all Glynn's spell slots doing this.
Oh, I'm ready to sleep. Doesn't matter. This could be my morning.
Oh, it's a 16 plus.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'll say that Poe was sitting on the edge of the cart, and you just like throw this axe, and it just like goes through Poe and just sticks into the edge of the cart, like as he was sitting on kind of the railing. And Poe is
he just
gone again.
He puffed, like he just poofs, and Cosmo just.
Yeah, and Poe takes another trip to the ethereal plane again.
He's gone. It's one spell slot in the morning.
Rangrim is just giggling himself to sleep.
So fucking funny. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, you all take your basically the quickest rest you can. Well, I guess you are able to get a pretty good rest, because I think it was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock,
about
maybe.
1 when we got to the camp. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys were able to take your full rest and then some. If anyone wants to do anything in the morning to prepare, aside from Glynn definitely summoning Poe again.
What's that like?
Yeah. In the morning, I guess not in the morning, in the evening, I would not have summoned Chandrail this time, just because I literally talked to her this morning. So I'd not bug her again. But I'm going to take some time to study those mushrooms. I have like 4 hours before they wake up. Those mushrooms that I picked.
Oh yeah, the nightcaps.
So I want to use my. I think I'm proficient with Poisoner's Kit. I want to learn what they do.
Yeah,
It's
for
something
sure.
sleepy related, but yeah, I've proficiency in poisoners kit, so just see if I can extract and find some use for these things.
Do you need a roll for that? Is there any kind of roll involved?
My assumption would be like an intelligence check. I hear the DM
Is
you
it
tell
kind of
me,
like,
or I'm
well,
fucking great at it.
so like I know that with the thieves tools, you roll like plus your proficiency. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Okay,
Dan,
let's just do
Dan,
that
you
then.
DM more than I do.
Let's do that, or you can do a nature check, whichever one you prefer.
Nature or what was the other one? Sorry.
Just roll with your proficiency modifier added to the roll.
Gotcha. Oh, it's not good. Doesn't matter anyway. It's a 10 total.
Okay. I'll say that while you're messing with it, you squeeze it a little bit too hard, and I just need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
What?
Where am I?
Saving throw?
Yes.
14.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to. You squeeze too hard, and it kind of goes poof, and in your face, and you're like, oh, and you barely stave off sleep, and you kind of just like feel it wash over you, almost as if you just like took a quick swig of fucking NyQuil or something.
Okay.
And you're able to. It passes, and then you're able to kind of like studying this thing and looking at it, like you clearly do know, like from that, like it has the ability to like cause sleep. But yeah, I mean, after studying this thing and looking at its nature, like you realize that you could probably create from each of these that you have, and I believe you've grabbed a good handful of them. But I believe you could probably either coat a weapon with it, enough like poison, sleeping poison to, or sleeping potion or whatever, probably sleeping poison generally, but to coat a weapon with per each one of these, or you could probably, for each two, you could probably make a potion enough to summon a drink.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I would honestly probably take that entire time to and learn that and figure out how to
Awesome.
distill it. I don't really have an idea for it just yet.
Sweet, awesome. Yeah, I'll say that you're able to like turn them into liquid form, into a concentrate, if that's something that you want to do in this time period.
Okay, I'm not going to do anything with them yet. I'm going to leave them as mushrooms that can still poof sleepiness.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, they seem to have like this, almost like if you like a cap on them that is like porous, has these like holes sticking out.
I picture it's like if you had to squeeze like toothpaste. Here's like
yeah,
100%. I'm with you.
It's like Majin Buu's head.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So I mean, I guess like once I've done that studying and I see the guys start to wake up, I'd walk over to the campfire and just kind of sit next to him.
Awesome. Yeah, Udak is also still sleeping. And you can see, like, you look over and you see Dozer is dozing, and he's kind of just like leaned back against like this kind of shitty bush that is kind of supporting him. He seems to be kind of like leaned back into it, and then Scraps is just like kind of curled up into like kind of like underneath one of his like arms.
I'm going to, I guess, before Udak wakes up, try as like quietly to wake up the guys as close to them earning a long rest as possible.
So yeah, I think that they need to sleep at least 2 hours past you.
Something like that. Yeah. So whenever that may be, if possible, to wake them up before wake up Udak and just say to the guys, for tonight, we doing reconnaissance, or we going in? I just need to know what I'm looking at tonight. Get ready for it, you know? What do you guys have in mind?
Well, first things first. Let me do some things here. And Rangrim's gonna spend his actually, I forget how long that actually is. Let me just check real quick.
We just wait for 30 minutes for him just to do something.
Hold on 1 second.
Hold on, I just need to do this real quick.
It's not a long period of time. I'm just gonna imbue my shield again.
So Cosmo, like I was saying, do you want to do reconnaissance, or we going balls to the wall today?
As well as I'm also casting Detect Magic as a ritual in the campsite.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll say that you get the remnant energy of the, like, on Udak's hands. You can see that there is like remnant energy in the metal that you attach the new metal to. There's like some sort of metal and magic in that. It's very faint. And the same with like, you can see on the back of like Dozer's back. Like some of the attachments, it seems like have been strengthened by magic in some sort of way. And then like as you're kind of like, it doesn't seem like there's just like kind of ambient magic, like very faint though, and it seems like it's not like really enough to affect anyone, but it just seems like there's like kind of like ambient magic around. So it's almost like when you do that burst of like where you can see magic in the area, it's almost just kind of like there's a thin veil of mist that appears to you as well, aside from those couple things.
Minus Glynn, who's lit up like the 4th of July.
True, of course. Yeah, you guys look like fucking like you're going through an X-ray machine when he does that.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, well, what do you want to do, Cosmo? What's with all the stolen?
Right, well, Cosmo would get up and walking towards his hand axe in the cart would just say, well, you know me, I'm always up for popping heads. Pulls it out of the
journey that Cosmo has gone on from being this like hometown boy, sweet little like so like just innocent to being like, yeah, I'm gonna go in here and I'm just gonna rip some fucking heads off. It's like that is the craziest journey we were all on together, and I love it.
We're bad influences. We're very bad influences.
We've turned him into what the world needs.
Rangram pats him on the back and goes, oh, that's my boy. And then I hand him a cigarette out of my bag.
Go smoke this in the bathroom. Be a cool kid.
Bringing vengeance on those that have earned it is one thing, but I'm going to have to pass on your whatever.
Oh, what? This isn't even that stuff I got from that that bird chick. This is just normal stuff that I found when we was walking.
Right, wait, that's fine. What is?
It's all the mushrooms. You just go straight to sleep.
Fucking dandelion greens.
I walk over to Udak and I kind of like pat him on the stomach. I'm like, the dwarves are heading out. You ready?
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's leave them sleeping for a little. Well, now you know what? Actually, that's a terrible idea. We need someone to watch the camp. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. No, that's bad. This is terrible. I'm sorry. I'm better than that. And he just goes over and wakes him up quickly, and basically wakes Scraps up, leaves Dozer sleeping, and just kind of tells him quickly.
Perfect. When Scraps wakes up, I get the second he opens his eyes, Glynn just turns his head and just stares directly into Scraps' eyes, and walks up to him and just towers over him and goes, Scraps, I swear to God, if anything happens to those donkeys, I'm going to find new legs, I'm going to attach them to you, and I'm going to rip them back off. And I pat him on the head and walk away.
Oh, man. Hold on. All right. He held his cool. He didn't shoot you with a crossbow in the back. Okay, yeah. So Udak leads you all out of camp, pretty much directly north on this kind of winding path. And like as you guys are going, the scrubs and the bushes are getting like thinner and thinner and shorter and shorter. And eventually at some point, like he just kind of crouches down and is just kind of like waving a sword over his head, but like showing you that like, and obviously the dwarves are okay. I don't think you guys have to duck at the same point as Glynn and Udak would have to. But yeah, you guys are heading north through this and just kind of crouching down at this point. And after probably like a good 30 minutes or so, you all you're noticing that like the ground is I know it's dark, but like it's getting like crunchier and like almost like sandy as you're walking, and like you can see like the sun, the moon, and the like starlight glinting off of like the dark, like this almost like dark like obsidian soil that's beneath you, and these trees and everything are just like, it seems like there's just like less and less is growing. But he stops. As
that starts sending Poe forward, like as it starts to get just super shitty, sending Poe out just to see what he can see.
Yeah. Roll me a perception check for Poe.
Just keep that.
13.
Non-natural 20 this time, huh?
No.
So you send Poe off and he's flying above you, and you're seeing that like pretty quickly, like you guys are getting pretty close to the edge of this thing. Like it's you guys are crouched down right now, so it's kind of hard to see through, the forest through the scrub. But Poe flies up and you see this, like, it's a pretty amazing sight actually. Like there is you see this land extend out in front of you that is just like blackened and blasted, and there's like these like from time to time you just see these like pressurized geysers shooting up out of these holes in the ground, and like the ground is just like it's nighttime, but it's pitch black and almost reflects the moon. And like as you follow this like view up the mountain, this towering set of volcanoes that are in front of you, and the biggest one of the two is directly in front of you right now, pretty much. It is just like, I mean, you can see that there is lava, like this orange glow coming out of the top of it, and there's these like slight lava flows coming down from it. And there's a big lava flow coming out, actually out of the second one that seems to be kind of like flowing down into the distance. Of course, this is far away. I mean, but you guys are at the base of this very large set of volcanoes, and that's kind of what Poe is seeing.
Does he see anybody, or is it just?
I'll say that he's probably kind of up too high to be able to pick anyone out in the nighttime with the 13. I think that's kind of where we're at, but that's like the general view. I'll say that he can see that there is like some sort of like faint light coming from ahead of you at the base of this volcano, this large volcano.
I would kind of relay that information to the group, and then I as stealthily as possible. I mean, I don't know if we have stealth checks in the mix, but yep.
So Udak keeps heading forward for just like maybe another 5 minutes, and then he's like, all right, I think this is about as far as we can go, and we'll kind of keep it quiet here because, I mean, we're still kind of like probably a quarter mile from it, but you can see from here. And he's like, just kind of peek over, and I'm gonna roll a stealth check for Udak, and you guys can all roll stealth checks as well with advantage because I'll say that you guys are hidden. Udak rolled bad.
I got an 18 and a 19 plus whatever.
Million.
Yeah, 11, I think.
Yeah, I think one's a 30 then.
It's a stealth check.
Yeah, I got a 30.
Well, me and Bobby have disadvantage.
So I only rolled once,
Yes.
but I rolled fine. So I got an 8.
I rolled a 1.
Oh, no! Okay, I'm
used to
not.
this new play.
I'm not going. Yeah,
Everywhere.
yeah. So I'm not going to use that one right now, but I will use it because that's very good. Awesome. So you all kind of like peek over the edge of this thing, and so like what you see is it looks like just the front of like a mine. It's like a quarter mile away. It's at the base of this in the darkness, and there's like a couple like what you would assume to be torch lights. There's just like little light sources of light that are around it that seem to be like, they don't seem to be magical in nature or anything like that. And it just looks like a kind of rough hole in the front of this mountain. And you see what looks like it looks like a small, like there's a figure that's there like by the front door, by the front entrance. That's pretty large. I'll say it's probably like 20 feet in diameter and tall, and with these doors on the front. And there's just like a small form you can see moving around in the torchlight that's behind this like almost small desk that's set out in front of it. And as you're watching, you start hearing the sounds of what sounds like a cart pulling up, and like probably spooks you at first. And Udak's kind of like, oh, and like ducks down for a second, then pops back up. He's like, I think we're good. And this cart is rolling up, and it looks like it just kind of looks like a normal like trader. You can see like what looks like a humanoid of some sort that's just has a flat cart, and he's just unloading. He starts like there's two people in the back that start unloading these crates, and they seem to be like taking two of them at a time to like lift these crates, and they're carrying them inside. And this lady, this kind of small, very small, like seems like a small lady kind of pops down from behind her desk, and it seems to be kind of checking everything in. And you're just kind of watching this as these people are just kind of unloading these supplies and taking them into the mine through the front doors as this lady kind of like seems to do some sort of inspection.
Can I do, I guess, an investigation check check for two things? One, can I see if that actually is like they're just unloading boxes, or if it's like there's any type of spell attached to it? Like, is it like a disguise spell and they're like unloading, like people, or is it like actually boxes? From where I am, I don't know if I'm far enough or close enough.
I think you're gonna have to do an Arcana check for that, and you're also gonna have to do a Perception check. So it's gonna be both.
Okay, so the other thing was gonna be, I want to just like try to memorize as many of the details attached to that card as possible. Like just like what the card looks like, what it's, how it's built.
You're gonna have to roll a Rain Man check for that one.
Yeah, right. So, Okay, so is it one or the other?
Memorizing the details. Okay.
Because we're kind of far away, aren't we?
Yeah, you're a quarter mile away.
Okay, so I wouldn't be able to see through the spell from that far away, likely. Can I just like try to get as much? Can I try to collect as many details as possible from what it looks like, what the type of cart is?
Yeah. Yeah. So just roll me. I'm just gonna say perception. It could be investigation, but I think perception's fine.
Like ultimately, if I had to like redraw a version of it, like I just want enough details where I could like mentally like recall the.
I think. Do you have a perception, investigation? Are those the same thing for you? Or investigation, perception?
Yes, at this point, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Investigation, perception. Well, I was gonna say. Never mind.
I think it probably is likely more investigation because I feel like that's like memorization of like almost like inspecting certain things. Particular.
Sure.
So investigation's fine, but if they're the same, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes total sense. 21 for that.
Okay. Yeah. So you're looking at this cart and you're like, it just looks like a cart. Like everything you're seeing in front of you just looks like I think your surprise comes from the fact that it just seems so boring and like normal and unassuming. Like you're like, that's like fucking the dude. It's not the dude, but it's like the same kind of person you would have passed on any road. You would have never like, they're nondescript. They're just like Jeff the merchant, like is there unloading his stuff.
Okay.
And I think that is what makes you more uncomfortable than anything.
Okay. So like we kind of come back over the hill and I look over to Rangram and said, I know what we need to look like to get in. We do need to get past the small little lady who seems to be doing a more thorough inspection. So we have one hurdle so far. Udak, you know anything about her?
I know plenty about her, but how about this? And this is funny because I've never seen what you guys are seeing. Only people that are new here see it. But how about this? Don't trust everything that you see. And now that you know that what you're seeing isn't real, go look again.
I look again.
So the way spells or illusion magic works in D&D is that once you know it's fake, it stops working. So you go over this ridge, and what you now see is a cage on the back of this cart. A cage that is full of the manacles and very similar to the one that you encountered before in the Quietlands. And what you also see is two gnolls that are between the two of them dragging at least one other person that you can't really tell what they like their race at this distance, but you see them dragging them by the arms through the front doors of this place. And you also now see that the lady is not a human lady. They have some sort of like almost like blackened skin and like these almost like feathers coming off of them, and have just like almost like avian appearance to them, but they are like hunched over and very just kind of sickly looking. And you also see that the front door of this place, it actually roll me a religion check, the three of you.
Nat 20.
Nat 20. That's
do I roll?
yeah, you're up there looking. I would say
it's a 23 total.
6.
10.
Okay. Awesome. So I think I'll attribute that to being like you guys getting that second hand from Glynn after he comes back. Glynn, you see a symbol on top of this door, and this door looks a lot more ornate now. It's almost like temple-esque. It's like has like religious almost symbology, like you've seen temples. Like it's like this big stone carved doorway that is a lot more magnificent looking than it was before. And you see this symbol above the door that you recognize just from like your long life on this like plane of existence. And it's a symbol that is notorious because it's a very bad one, and it depicts the evil god Torog, who is known as the god of tormentors and slavers, and is also known as the Crawling King. And it's an old god. It's a god that is supposedly dead, but it still doesn't bode well for this place.
I would relay as much of that information as possible to the group.
And when you guys get the information on Torog, you would just not have very much familiarity. Though I'm having a really hard time. I would say Rangram, I think you have to know Torog. Like being from the Underdark, I think that would just be something you would know. I'd say Cosmo probably has very little familiarity. I would say that like Rangram being from the Underdark, like an evil Underdark god like Torog, like you would know what Torog is.
I think we might have found, or I guess Udak, you might be able to speak to this, but have you ever seen any kind of demonic evil god down there, or has it always just been coming from Alton? I mean, you ever see some big, lumbering fella in there, or what's it like in there?
I know what you're referring to. We've heard tell of what this place could be, is this. It's not just the symbols on the outside. There's statues inside as well. I don't know if that has anything to do with what's going on here. As far as I know, the gods have died, but as far as I know, it's just Alton and Doc in there. And of course, they have other people that work for them. But there's like I said, there's something else the power's coming from. But I don't know if a dead god is it. Could be. Maybe it isn't. Who knows?
Glynn looks over to Cosmo and Rangram and goes, well, boys, I hope the revivifists haven't made their way over here just yet. We might be biting off a lot more than we can chew, but I think we need to get closer.
Well, this magic that we now see, is it, or don't see, I suppose, is our cart idea obsolete, or does it still remain an option?
Do we notice if there is any way? Well, actually, I could just ask Udak. Do they ever take traders, or is it only like, do they expect every arrival at their gates, or could I try and procure some ore from them as a traveler without raising too much suspicion?
I think that you might be able to get up to them that way. I think that that thing you see up by the front that seems to be keeping track of things is probably going to know that when they're expecting deliveries, I would assume. But just a kind of random trader in the night rolling up and asking for ore probably won't raise that much suspicion, though I will say they're probably going to try to take you inside, whether by force or by persuasion, in a way that a normal trader wouldn't come out from. But we're also trying to get in there, so that could work. I don't know how I'm going to get in there, though. They'll be able to point me out a mile away.
Glynn, you still have that mask?
The one I'm literally wearing on the side of my face. Go, well, yeah, I do, of course. And I take it off, and I hand it over to Cosmo.
Right. Okay. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked that. Udak, I reckon this mask, when attuned, can turn you into whatever you desire. And then I look at Glynn, and it's like, is it always a female?
You know what? I'll be honest. For me, I've never really had any problems, but for our boy Red, he just went straight to female. Maybe it's like your inner image, like it's like how you see yourself. I've never figured it out.
Maybe it's just always well, I don't know. Anyways, he just hands it over to Udak. You just put it on.
Udak, you'll be fine.
It won't do anything weird.
Glynn,
well,
is it okay?
Weird. You want me to put it on first?
Yeah, see what happens to him.
Yes, please do that.
What? Oh, all right. Watch. I don't know how to. Do I just put it on my face like the mask? Like
it's like a hockey mask. Yeah.
Yeah. So you put on the mask, and the second you're like, do I just put the mask on? And as soon as you put it on your face, you see Cosmo turn into a halfling girl with white hair.
Yeah. See, I told you, you turn into like your innermost interpretation of yourself. It is It is a deep dive.
Glynn,
This is absolutely the order, by the way, that I'm not lying to you. This is the way that they generated. So yes, you're a halfling girl right now.
and Glynn, you just hear Cosmo's voice come out of it.
Yeah.
Glynn, you are my friend, but I will kill you.
Well, okay. And I take the mask off and I hand it to Udak. Like, you'll be fine. Let me just throw it on real quick. And I put the mask on Udak.
Okay. Udak, kind of like trusting Glynn, basically puts the mask on and immediately turns, just kind of like changes into a female tiefling, red tiefling, which a tiefling, Bobby, do you know what a tiefling is? Okay. Yeah, it changes into a tiefling immediately. And you're just like, looks down at himself like, well, this is very strange. This is very strange.
But it usually the first time it is. I reckon my first time was about today, right now.
What is he doing with his hands? Is what I want to know.
That's a good question. I'm gonna say that.
Just walking like
Like,
that.
he can't close his fingers because there's no.
Yeah, it looks like they're just like walking like a robot.
Hello.
Hello, my name. Yeah, so that's what it looks like. Is basically that his hands are straight. And yeah, this is what you're seeing. But like the clothes are just fitting very bagly on a much more slight frame now. But yeah, that is you now have a Udak the Tiefling.
Right. Well, you don't have to stay that one, but you can take it off and put it on.
I mean, I don't mind it. It's fine. I don't think that anything else is going to be better. I mean, it's kind of cool. I've never been red before.
But well, if you just wanted to like, try again, you just take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, and then it'll be something else every time.
Yeah, what if I like turn into a blob or something? I'm good. I'm good with this one. This one's fine. It's high. It's tall enough. This is fine. If I don't really know how it would work if I ended up shorter. It's just weird. This one's fine. I'm good with this one.
Well, I reckon that maybe you just try to change your voice a little bit sometimes if you had to talk. Well, you know what? Just don't talk at all. Let us do the talking.
That's fair. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna try to do a lower, higher pitch voice of Udak, and then I realized that's just me doing higher pitch voice of my lower pitch voice. So cool.
A voice like recreating a voice.
Yeah, exactly. It's a voiceception. Awesome. What's the plan?
Well,
I was gonna say,
guys, I don't know if this. I'm pretty sure this is bad news. For you guys, I think I have to do all the talking.
why?
I am, pretty resistant to being charmed and things.
Right.
And Durgars are also slavers. So
I was gonna say that
they'll probably greet me a bit better than you two, polished up and proper looking.
I can roll around in the mud.
I'll give you 4 silver if you do it right now.
Oh, what? All right.
Do anything for 4 silver.
Right in his head, 4 silver. I'm changing that on my character sheet. That's how committed I am to this. I only have 3 silver and 6 copper.
I don't have any change. This is practically. I don't have any change. A gold piece.
Are you handing me a gold piece?
No, I'm handing you back what you put in my hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Glynn has it. He carries all my money.
That's true. I have been stealing from him.
Right. Then I turn my hand.
So, boys, are we going in or what are we doing? And I flip Cosmo a gold piece.
Perhaps maybe we go in and I say that I'm some sort of traveling blacksmith, and you guys just happen to be my god of all sorts of nefarious backgrounds, real bad back alley types, and see if they let us in for some trading. And if I'm in the front, they're not gonna have a bit harder time charming me with any of their magic right off the gate.
All right.
DM, when we saw them checking like the things that they were trying to bring in, the fake lady, was she like checking a list, or was it just like was she like going through like an order trying to like see like
there
yes, what we're expecting?
There was some sort. You could see that there was some. It seemed like from her posture, like you are at a distance, but you could see that there seemed to be some sort of something that she was checking, some sort of list or ledger.
So yeah, Glynn was going to say, I think that's the right idea, but I think we need to get our names onto that list before we try to make an introduction. Walk-ins might be welcome, but I imagine appointments are even more welcome.
Right, well, that seems sketchy at best. Otherwise, we have to get close enough to write on the list. Or even, I mean, what if we... Oh, I thought we digressed to an idea of just being random traders.
All right, let's do it. I have faith in you guys.
You all start hearing what sounds like kind of like yipping and almost like just like a sound of like aggression coming from like that you would recognize as like sounds of gnolls. Almost sounds like argument of some sort, and you hear raised voices coming from the front. Does anyone want to go take a look?
Yes, let's.
I know. Glynn would 100% start to hide. he would sneak back 100%.
It does seem it's from a distance. Like it kind of sounds like it's echoing off the mountain coming back to you.
Cosmo would look. Definitely.
Okay. Rangram, are you staying put?
Yeah, I'm not doing so good with the sneaking, so I'm just gonna hang out here for a minute.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, Cosmo, you poke your head over and you can see that it looks like there is like 3 of the gnolls are kind of crowded around what looks like this. Actually, roll me a perception check for me.
Perception check. All right. See if I get a nat 20 for the next. Need one. Okay.
Funny, haha.
Oh, super close. 19.
Sweet.
Perception would make it a dirty 20.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, you see a lot actually, and you have dark vision, so that makes a lot of sense. You see that these 3 gnolls are kind of crowded around, and this form that looks like in the moonlight, it's like you can tell it's very light in colored, and you recognize it as like a dragonborn in nature. But it's very crouched over, and it almost seems like the scales are like not like bright white. It's almost like a yellowish, and you don't know whether that's just because like the yellowish torchlight shining off their scales or whatnot. But it also seems like their scales like are missing in different places, like almost like it's not a consistent glint from the light off this dragonborn. And it seems like there's some sort of altercation, and then the dragonborn kind of like waves his hand in front of him, and you see the gnolls kind of like just kind of stiffen, and then just kind of like go back to the cart, and then start like loading it up, getting it ready to go. And then you see like the dragonborn talking to what you can now see is like very clearly, because your perception, a small like kenku, which is like the small bird person who like looks almost like they have like mange, like there is like not very well looking, missing a lot of feathers, just really not nasty looking, and is checking this list and nodding a lot. And then the dragonborn heads back inside, and then the gnolls, as they're kind of setting up to leave, start kind of like heading out, and are kind of heading kind of in your direction a little bit. And as they get kind of closer, you see them kind of like stop looking a little bit, and one of them gets off and starts kind of like walking a little bit closer towards your direction. They seem like they realize, or they come to the conclusion they didn't see anything, and then they get back on the cart and kind of head back west.
Oof.
Dodged a bullet on that one. All right,
yeah.
boys. So back to the cart and see if we can't sneak our way in.
Well,
See if Rangram can't charm his way into the compound of slavers.
Have I ever let us down when it came to diplomacy?
Rangram, what is his name? And I point to Udak.
Who dat?
We'll be fine. And I just like start stealthily walking back towards the cart, like all the way back down.
But yeah, so you all are able to, unless you want to do anything during the time you're making your way back, but like another 30, 40 minutes, you're able to make your way back to camp without any issues. And
Cosmo cleans his armor.
You would. Yep. love it.
So Cosmo spends 30 minutes cleaning his armor, just really
Toothbrush.
getting in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly. Some turtle wax, really getting
Right.
on there.
It's me dad's. It was me
Made of-
dad's.
Made of 100% turtles. Yeah. So, yeah, you get back to camp, and Scraps and Dozer are like almost like they're just kind of like making some sort of like rudimentary meal, and yeah, so you're just collecting the cart and heading back out.
Boys, what do you got? You think? I think we're good to go.
Well, it seems
Yeah,
risky at best, but well, let's fucking do it.
It's like 2 in the
Glynn,
morning at this point, or something like that.
yeah, Glynn would look to Udak and say, "Are you sure you want to go back in there? I know what it was like for you to get out. We can do this by ourselves. You can just help us come up with a map or something. You don't need to go back in there."
I think this is my best opportunity, to be honest. I don't want to have been sitting out here when your buddy over there smashes Alton's head. I'd much rather remove it so that he can smash it. I'm not afraid of death. I've had worse, and I've come out on the other side of it. But the fear of missing out on watching them all take their last breaths, worse of a fear for me than death.
Glynn would kind of
that's
take like a
pretty
serious.
grim.
Glynn takes kind of a serious look and says, "We will put you down if you turn again or turn against us. You know that, right?"
I know what you're worried about. I don't think that it's something that just kind of happens to you as you get close. I don't think that that's the case. I think it needs to be intentional. It was I haven't felt that power like try to take me when we tried a raid. It wasn't like that. It seems like it has to be cast or something casting it, but I don't remember what it was, what did it. But I feel like it has to be intentional. I don't think it's just proximity. One thing that I don't think we've gone over though is there is a barrier. That's what we ran into. We couldn't get past it. There's some sort of magical barrier around the front. I don't, if you're being allowed into it, I think it's different. The gnolls that we just saw were already going past that barrier. They passed it without problem. But when we attacked, we hit a pretty much invisible wall, and that they just killed us from the other side of.
How far out was that from the main gate?
About probably 100 foot around it, just kind of in a perimeter halfway around. Like I said, we hit it probably like 50 feet away from the actual wall itself. The door.
Think those gnolls might have been holding on to something that kind of let them pass through? I feel like we have a little bit of a hunting party we need to take care of first.
Maybe, but I like the idea that the plan you have, I think, is good. I think that because they want you in, you guys are traders. You guys are, you're basically sitting ducks for them to, pull inside and turn you into, people to work in the mine. I don't think they're going to try to push you away. I think they'll allow you in, but I could be wrong. But it's worth a shot. Worst case scenario, you run into a invisible wall and we regroup and try again.
Sure, I think that's one way to look at it. All right, boys, you ready for this?
Yep, ready as I'll ever be.
Do we maybe want to slightly, if not entirely, cover the gleaming, shiny armor that you're both wearing as, average, everyday traders? Maybe like a big old sheet, one of these tents here.
I mean, we could.
I had never met a traveling merchant that is in full platinum and gold plate mail. Personally, I've killed and stolen from a good amount of them, so pretty confident this isn't their general attire.
Well, Oblak, you got any cloaks or anything like that? Just
cloaks. Yeah, I think we can rustle something up. And he kind of goes over and pulls down one of the flaps of this. It's just kind of like this dark cloth that is kind of draped over the front of one of these structures. And just kind of, it's pretty large, and he tears it in half and just kind of tosses it to both you and to Cosmo.
It's not really my favorite thing to do, but if it means we have a chance to save some people, let's do it.
Yeah, I picture you just poke a hole in the top of your head and just kind of throw it over you like Vash the Stampede.
Yep.
Try again.
Yeah. I would be very much in the black leather armor. Definitely not wearing white robes or anything. Those are bundled up and packaged away. Probably leaving those with Scraps, hoping he keeps those safe.
What are you doing with where do you have the double-bladed scimitar? You putting it on your back?
Yeah, I keep that on my back. It doesn't go anywhere. That's just all bandaged up. Whenever it's on my back, it's like wrapped in bandages, so it just looks like a stick.
Cool. One thing we didn't approach is the fact that you all are technically in a modified version of their slaving cart. What does it look like at this point? I know that you did some modifications to it, Rangram. But I understood it basically to look like the same cage with just like now a forge being built inside of it.
Well, it's now open in the back.
Mhm.
So instead of it being like a cage, the cage part, like the door would totally be removed, and it looks more like a covered wagon would be, but instead of like actual fabric around it, it's like the metal goes around in bars, and some of the other metal is in the back. So we haven't really figured out how I'm gonna make the forge really work at this point, like in the cart, because I need more than just metal, I think. Mm-hmm. So it's the basics of it are there, but it would be like the same sort of metal banding, but it wouldn't really look exactly like one of their carts.
The cage becomes a framework more than
for
sure. We would have like repainted it a skosh as well to be Rangram branded.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's you did some you had some wainscoting and whatnot to the inside.
It doesn't it doesn't say Ebon Depths slaving cart on the side.
It's like when you're going to
take that off.
It's like when you go to look at a house that's for sale, and you're like, oh, this is a really beautiful house, and then you look at the street view and you realize it's all rusted and just they painted over it. Awesome. So how I think that we have most of the strategized. Like, how are you approaching just literally who's set up in what part of the cart, and like how are you looking when you're approaching?
Glynn would be, so he's going to be hooded, kind of like a full cowl, like his face would be covered. You wouldn't be able to see like any of his skin. His hair, his like silver hair would be completely hidden. He would be kind of sitting with his kind of sitting off the back of the cart, keeping an eye on the front of the cart, but like ready to hop off the cart if needed. But yeah, he would be kind of just posted in the back with Udak as a tiefling. We'll let the dwarfs do the talking.
Right.
This is starting to grow on me. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like this. This is cool.
Yeah, Udak, it's weird. You're really hot. We're gonna need to have you do something.
Thank
later.
you. Thank you very much.
Stirring up all sorts of feelings.
Glynn, you should give him a high five.
Nope. Know how that one goes. It's only an illusion. That was good.
I mean, I keep forgetting, but he's still all like this.
It's the weird. It's like it's just you wanna curl him, right? It's just you can't.
Hey, I would love to. Trust me.
Now I feel bad. And yeah, Glynn's gonna just be as stealthy as possible in the back of the cart. In any way that he can hide, he is going to do so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's enough of a ledge that you could definitely get down and hide, like at least out of view. Cosmo, what are you doing?
Cosmo would be sitting in the front with Rangrim.
Okay.
At least then we're matching.
Sweet. Are you doing anything to gray face or anything like that to look like a Duergar?
I don't think so. Do we feel like that's reasonable? Rangrim. I don't think so.
I don't think it would hurt.
I'm probably still a little dirty from the mud, but other than that.
Okay, you're just like a dirty boy dwarf right now.
A dirty boy dwarf. Yeah. Dirt.
What a
dirty boy dwarf. Awesome. So I think that's a good setup. So you all are able to, like, I assume, like, Rangram, like with Udak's kind of guidance, he's able to like guide you out of camp, the kind of continuing out the other way, which would bring you in around the way that the gnolls left. Of course, like before breaking out of the scrub, which again, like just kind of like gets lower and lower to the point where like the bushes are just gone completely, and you're just like on this like obsidian sand almost ground. And the cart is kind of like struggling a little bit, but the donkeys are able to pull you through it, and you get onto this like kind of like path where it's been like crunched down a little bit more firmly. And you don't see or hear any carts, and you, after kind of heading down the path kind of along the Ebon Depths or the Ebon Ridge, you see the entrance to the Ebon Depths coming into your vision from a different view than last time, kind of more of a westerly to easterly view. But you see it kind of coming close. What do you do?
As we start to approach, Glynn would kind of like nudge Udak, be like, let me know as soon as we're through that barrier. I need to know when we're in the clear.
Okay. we're gonna have to get pretty close. So buckle in. And Rangam, are you just continuing?
Yep, kind of just cowl up a little bit, cigarette in his lip, just very, very casually leading the donkey up to the car.
whistling, just like spinning something in one hand, just like abs, just so casual, just super casual.
So
Recognizing that it's 2:00 in the morning, but we're trying to.
Hey, you never know. They took a delivery at midnight. I don't think that these are the denizens that do a lot of stuff during the day. Doesn't seem like they like that the evil darkness of night. So
all
they
good crimes are committed at night.
of course, yeah. I mean, who does day crime? It's crazy. Anyway, so you're kind of heading through, and it's like it's kind of stressful. Like you're having to get closer and closer to this entrance, which is you can now see like it's the very very formal, very temple-esque kind of framing to these big stone doors. And then that little tiny table out in front with this like very little crouched over black bird-esque form. And as you get closer, Glynn, you hear that go, okay, I think we're in. And as you pass through, you can feel it actually. It's just like this like kind of, you just like push through it. And now that you're on the inside of it, you can see like this slight shimmering that you just like the cart has just passed through. And as you pull up kind of closer to this table, this little form jumps off her little stool and comes over to you. Probably isn't more than like 2.5 to 3 feet tall, bent over to this little tiny, and is like looking up at you and goes, reason.
And we know what it actually looks like, but we're still to believe that it should look like totally normal.
That is a good question. That's totally on you. If you're new here, then you probably could think that you probably should still be seeing it as an old lady.
I come here looking for, either work, gold. Who runs this operation that you have here?
What sell?
I could sell lots of things. I can make things.
Raingrim, I think you stuttered me, friend. Just.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, what are you buying then?
Come.
Okay. I think she wants you to
Speak.
follow.
Come, speak.
Right. Okay.
Oh.
Is she motioning us out of the cart, or is she like?
Can speak sentences.
She's like moving away from your cart now, holding her little clipboard, and is moving towards the front doors, and goes over to them and seems to like pull like a metal chain that's there, and you hear like a kind of like a doom, kind of like that resonates deeper in the in like kind of like reverberates out through these stone doors, and then she's just kind of wait. Come, wait.
Is it follow? Oh, wait. Oh.
Wait.
Is there anyone else with fakes and sentences here that I could talk to? This is ridiculous.
Rude. Wait.
Rude. Well, wait. All right. Well, hold on. Let me at least get something to drink, and I'm gonna reach and lean over into the back of the cart, and I'm stealing some of Cosmo's ale.
Okay.
And tapping Glynn on the shoulder, who's still hidden in the cart, and gonna give him guidance.
At that moment, kind of on cue, I would use my mage hand to take one of the mushrooms, and I'd float it over, and I'd squeeze it in her face.
Okay. Yeah, I'll roll a Constitution saving throw for her. Oh, that was not good. That was not good at all. He goes, oh! And it just falls down and is unconscious on the ground.
We should have done that before the loud gong.
I hop out, and so she pulled on a chain that was like to ring a doorbell. Basically, that was to make the dinging sound.
You heard some sort of bell tolling deeper down in the mine.
Did like the door open in any way?
It hasn't yet.
Okay. Then Glynn would hop down and start like quickly rifling through just anything that like she has on her, like in her coat and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, you find a quill that it seems to be made out of probably one of her own feathers, and it's
Weird,
It's
gross.
like
yeah,
ripping off like skin to
a
write with it.
fingernail. Yeah.
Ugh.
My toenail pen.
Ugh.
A good old skin tag pen. Let's go.
Ugh.
Stop.
Gnarly.
Disgusting.
That's gnarly. um, yeah, and then you find obviously the ledger that she has that we can like. I don't think you're gonna probably take the time right now to study that ledger, but you can take it.
Yeah, so sure, I'll pocket the ledger, and then I look over to like kind of the chain that she pulled on. Do I see any other like mechanisms, or is there anything that
Yes.
isn't the same exact doorbell chain that she pulled on?
I'll say that below that there is a pretty heavy looking lever right
Okay.
below that chain.
So I'm gonna grab. Okay, cool. So I see her, and she's passed out. I set her back up in the chair that she was sitting in,
Mhm.
and I put the ledger in front of her, and I try to mimic her writing as best as possible. And I write DOS dogs as the bottom ledger icon or like ledger line.
The recent check-in is DOS
Yeah,
dogs?
the most recent check-in is DOS dogs, and
Yes.
I walk over to the lever and I put my hand on it. I look at Rangram and Cosmo, and I shrug,
Ready, friend.
and I pull the lever.
A trapdoor opens up beneath you and you fall. No, I'm kidding. No, the door, as you pull that lever down, it almost like you can feel like it's difficult. And you're like, you start pulling with one hand and then you throw another hand on it and you pull it down. And like, as you're doing it, Rangram and Cosmo, you're seeing that the door is like, it kind of like unseals and starts opening inwards. And it eventually gets to the point where like, it's just kind of slowly opening and like, it is just like, it closes or opens up against the doors, and you now are looking at a 20-foot wide entrance into this pretty dark cave system.
Do we
mine
see
system.
any guards or anything?
Roll me a perception check.
Perception check. Should be used to this, yeah, but it's
You're
modifier.
+1.
Yeah, I am. It's an 11.
Okay. With the 11, who else? Actually, everyone should roll this probably.
I don't know if I'd necessarily see it because I'm pulling the lever, or is
Oh,
the
right,
door
right.
next to the
What
lever?
was your perception, Rangram?
My passive perception is just 17, so I feel
Okay.
like even without trying, I would notice things.
Yeah. So as you're, it's actually really good. I need to remember that's that high. As this door slams slams open, essentially, like you kind of like you hear dust settling and stuff like that for a second, and then you start hearing like just the distant like echoing what sounds like walking footsteps deeper down in the mine, but like they seem far away. They don't seem close. And so, but inside the cavern, inside this opening, almost seems like an antechamber kind of thing. It's very roughly hewn, but it's this big open space ahead of you, and then it's like a half round, and there's a bunch of boulders off to one side that seem to have like either been excavated or fallen in from one of the walls. And like some of these boulders are like this, like 6 feet, like they're like pretty large, and there's like a lot of room around them. And then like the other side is just kind of like. It just seems to be kind of like curving inwards, and then it goes into a narrower, maybe like 10 to 15 foot chamber or like passageway that goes further down, and that's where you're hearing the echoing footsteps from. So what do you want to do?
Glynn would stealthily as possible, just ride the wall and just get inside. He wouldn't even try to get back into the cart.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, as far as hiding places goes, like those rocks behind the doors, like there's a decent amount that are inside.
Okay. That's only a 14 to hide, or 14 stealth check, but yeah, he would be tucking himself in that first doorway that
Was
he
that like
opened.
a 3 you rolled?
Yeah. But he'd be looking down corridor towards those footsteps.
Awesome. I'll say that you're able to just kind of like, you're just kind of like tucked, you're just flattened yourself against the wall with maybe like a little bit of cover, but not super obscured with that 14. Rangram, Cosmo, what are you doing?
Rangram, let's take the cart inside.
Mm-hmm. No, take the cart.
As it's kind of rolling through, Cosmo would hop off to go back over to the lever to try and close the door.
Okay. Yeah, there's a corresponding lever on the inside. That'll
That'll work.
Yeah. There's a corresponding lever on the inside that you're able to pull. That basically, as soon as you are clear of the door, you're able to shut that, and it kind of it's loud, but it shuts, and it is now even darker inside because there's no moonlight.
Is there any place like in this little like foyer type area in front of this cave? Is there anywhere where there's any other horses stabled or anything like that?
There's really not. You're in literally an empty room aside from like all this rubble, and it's basically just like a half circle that is like probably, I'll say 60 feet or so, and then it kind of narrows to it's that thermometer shape that we've described in the past that doesn't look like anything else. Only looks like a thermometer. Yeah, it looks like a thermometer.
Very phallic thermometers.
It looks like that. And so, like, if you wanted to tuck it off to one side and keep it kind of out of the way of the passageway, but for the most part, I mean, there's not the best spot in the world to be able to store this cart, to be honest.
Udek, what's next from here? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, I know what's next, but I have a feeling that we're not going to like the welcoming committee that's going to come over here. Are you wanting to wait for them? I'd rather hide behind some rocks or something. This is not good.
Do you know what's keeping that barrier there how that works?
I don't know. I assume that whatever it's something in here, whether it's Doc or whether it's Alton, they're the magic users. So I don't know whether it would be anything. You could tell he's like stressed. Like he's not stoked on this right now. Like the fact that you can hear people getting closer and he's just sitting on this cart in the open.
Right. Well, we just need somewhere to put this cart.
I just say, I know that you guys love these donkeys. I don't think they're going to kill your donkeys. I just say, leave it and let's hide. I don't know. Or let them, or stay with it and let them take you in. But and he's like getting off the cart and he's like, I gotta hide. I can't. And he's like moving.
Maybe we just send them out. Send the cart out. Might raise too much suspicion being here.
It's not a bad idea. You think they'll be able to make it to safety?
No, they're smart donkeys. As he's like patting one of them on the face.
As the other one licks its own nose and like eats a booger.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do it quick. Whatever you want to do it quickly. We don't have much time, and I think we got one very short period here before we can do anything.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'll send the cart.
Well, before you do that, while we're opening the gate and sending the cart, Cosmo will summon Steve.
Okay.
And he'll tell Steve, take the cart back to Scraps. Take it back to camp.
Okay, Cosmo.
How long have you been waiting on that
one?
Oh
my god.
Yeah. So yeah, no, you see your loyal, trusted donkeys being led out back to in that camp direction, the same way you just came, by Steve, as the door shuts behind you and you guys are again in pitch black darkness. What do? You can hear the steps are getting very close at this point.
Well, someone's coming. Rangram casts invisibility on himself.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be if I can get another sneak roll in there, I'd be pushing myself against one of those rocks to be basically have a rock position between myself and them.
And I would kind of position myself more towards the entrance with Glynn as well, with my back to one of the rocks, but I am invisible.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cosmo, what are you doing?
Roll for hide. I don't know.
Stealth checks.
Stealth check with disadvantage. I believe in you.
Do I reroll or am I using my 14?
I would say you reroll because you're re-hiding at this point.
For that,
you're that kid in hide and seek who like changes his location like 14 times in the room.
Right.
He's constantly moving.
So they're coming from down the hall, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got dirty 19 for what it's worth.
Guess I'll just I'll hide with the rest. I don't know. Let's go. Fucking go. All right.
This is super good.
First one's an 8.
Okay. What's the second one?
Let's see.
Well, hopefully bet not worse than an 8.
What do you got?
It's
6?
It's not a 1, but it's a 4.
Okay, cool. What do you add to that?
That is the added.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Okay, 4. Okay, so I'll say that Cosmo, you're hiding. You're hiding as well as you can behind these rocks. But like you're just like not pulling it off. Like you can't find the right rock, and you're just like kind of sticking out. And your aren't like you're either the rock is too narrow and you're sticking out the sides, or the rock is too short and you're like poking over it a little bit. You all have picture hiding spots, and you're kind of sitting in this hallway, and like you see these two like forms come into the end of the hallway, and like in your dark vision with the three of you, you're able to see that they are gnolls. There's 2 of them, and they're kind of like just like drooling and like kind of looking around confused for what they were summoned for. And then they kind of like walk over, and they pull the lever, and the doors start opening. And Cosmo, you notice that the doors are definitely going to squish you if you don't move.
So I see the doors starting.
The doors are starting to open. Yeah, both of them, they're opening like this inward, or they're kind of open inward against the walls, basically.
And I can see back down into the mines.
Yep.
Where are there other like rock formations to hide on?
I'll say that there are at least some like stalactites and things like that, and other rock formations that are in the hallways, where like the hallways are kind of like this. So if you want to try to run down there and get something a little bit farther in, I will definitely give you that. I'm going to need a athletics check from you, and then I'm also going to need another stealth check for hiding.
I'm actually just going to Misty Step over.
Okay, awesome. So with Misty stepping, fucking go for it. So they start doing that, and then they're already focusing on going out of this door. So you Misty step, and you're able to get yourself away. I'm going to give you advantage on a stealth check because they're not like looking at you now, and I'll say that you can just do that with a straight roll now. How bad?
It's a 10.
Okay, 10 is fine. 10 is fine. They're not looking. You're able to take your time, and you're able to tuck yourself into this little tiny alcove. It's not the best hiding spot in the world, but you're kind of like, it's this tiny alcove that is kind of like naturally formed, and there's like, you're half hidden behind this kind of like just water, like stalagmite that's kind of formed over the years. So like, I would say that you're probably 3/4 cover hidden, where if someone isn't looking super carefully, they probably won't see you. But anyway, these 2 gnolls, they go out the front door, and Rangram and Glynn, you see this. Cosmo, you're focusing on turning into mist and hiding. And they go outside, and they're kind of like, you hear them kind of like shaking a small form, and then they don't seem to be able to get anything from her. And then you hear them kind of like start talking in kind of like a more like excited voice, and then they come back inside and shut the door behind them and start heading deeper into the structure.
Once they cross the threshold of like back into the structure, the door closes. They're like kind of walking past myself.
Okay.
And assumably Udak and Rangram both, right? Because we kind of made like a line. I'm just going to whisper now, and I'm going to take the closest one near me, and I'm just going to attack him with my double-bladed scimitar.
Okay, so this thing, like you initiate combat. You're like, now, and you jump in with this thing. Rangram, you see Glynn go and attack this. You see your friend Glynn go and attack this this gnoll, and like you just like start feeling like angry, and you're like, why am I angry? Like, I don't care about this gnoll. And then you're just kind of like looking down at your hand, and you're feeling this burning, and you can see this eye is appearing in like red that's glowing brighter and brighter, and you're just like, no, that elf, whoever that elf is, they're not my friend. They're attacking my friends. Those are my friends. I can't let them do that. And as you come to that conclusion, Rangram, that's where we're going to leave the episode tonight.
I'm the big bad evil guy.
Knew it from the start. Bobby and I have a whole set of plans for this.
Oh yeah.
So Operation Alpha, we're ready.